Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, this is Stan Houston, and I think I'm a little bit better every day, getting better, trying to recover from the COVID, and my voice is slowly coming back to normal. And I'd like to take a few minutes today just to think about some of the things that are before us, and some of the things that are before us where hopefully we'll be able to make some opportunities, and at the same time, hopefully avoid some of those things that may not be the best for us. And with your permission, may I today just take, the 12 to 15 minutes to talk about, you know what, maybe it won't be such a super Sunday after all. Maybe it won't be. However, there might be something that you can really learn about Super Sunday that might be helpful for you and your business and your career as you are trying to make good choices and be one of the chosen, maybe, for 24. Well, that's the teaser. Now the trailer and the rest of the program begins right now. Yes, indeed. This is that holiday that is neither religious nor political or historical, but is kind of just happened. Because obviously it's not an official holiday, but everybody, many people, they're all getting ready, hundreds, thousands, millions, to celebrate Super Sunday. This is the American Professional Football League Championship after a season of teams working hard and players playing at their best and enduring the challenges of a difficult game in difficult situations. And now it'll come down to the big football game. And so we call it Super. Well, if you think about it, it probably isn't really super. Let me just go through a few things that might be helpful to us. First of all, it's probably not going to be a day in which we observe good health. We're probably going to eat way too much of the proverbial junk food. But, after all, it's Super Bowl Sunday. So our diet might not be super good for us. There's a very good chance that many people will drink too much. And again, that's probably not a super good thing to do. And what will happen is that we may even lose a little bit of a sense of proportion. Now, we all know this, but we kind of just pretend otherwise. Well, it's just a football game. That's right. This is not life or death or anything that will affect the policies and politics and the economy of our nation. Obviously, what will happen is lots of money will be spent on things that may not work. For instance, a lot of money will be spent going to this football game, which will simply be, now think about it, 60 minutes of football. That's it. 60 minutes of football. The rest of the time, it's just something else. At the same time, millions and millions and millions of dollars will be spent on the proverbial advertising, which, of course, we will all, in many cases, pay as much attention to as perhaps the game itself. The fact is that most of that is play, because most of those commercials, even the ones that are, quote, very good and very memorable and very fun in many cases, they actually don't pay for themselves. That's just the fact. It's an ego thing. It's a thing where people say, hey, that was my commercial, or I work for that company. But the actual financial cost of producing such a commercial, and then the outrageous cost which they pay to have 30 seconds or 60 seconds to have this message out there in the world. And at the end of the game, at least half of the people are going to be sad. Yeah, you spend all that money and spend all that time and spend all of that energy, and you're a loser. Your team lost. Now, of course, for the team that won, they're the winner. And of course, now they're going to go to Disney World and celebrate. Well, that's very, very nice on a Sunday night. And it certainly will be a good thing when they go to their hometown and they will have a parade in which, again, thousands of people will line the streets and they will be cheered on. And remembered, they are Super Bowl 58 champions. And then it's Monday night, and it's Tuesday morning, and nothing has changed. Nothing is better. Obviously, some people made some money, but guess what? A lot of people, probably even more, lost money, and nothing that matters, nothing that is vitally important. Your job is not going to be better on Tuesday morning. The work situation that you have, the family situation that you're going through, all of the things that we were able to escape for maybe 24, maybe 48 hours of weekend enthusiasm will all be back in place. The politics will still be corrupt. The streets will still be unsafe in many ways. And all of the problems that we have been commiserating about and the things that have made life somewhat challenging, they'll be back. So when we think about it, it probably wasn't a very super day at all. Which means that, obviously, what is true that even though millions and millions of people do watch the Super Bowl, there are a number of people who just decide, which is probably somewhat like me, that it will just be time to kind of be quiet, maybe munch on some good food, but not nearly the extravagances, but enjoy a Sunday afternoon rest, and I may even take a nap. Well, I just thought I would put that out there as kind of a counter vision, and you can decide which one that you think is most best acceptable and thoughtful for you. But there we go. Stan Houston, interesting ideas. It may not be so super after all. But there's one good thing, and I'm going to tell you about it in just a few moments. I'm Stan Houston. The program is Interesting Ideas, and we'll be back. I'm well known for it because it was an exercise that I came up with as a result of the fact that as I became a business performance coach for many businesses, I also had my background in international broadcasting, in which not only was I a teacher, but I was a worldwide broadcaster, working for a significant number of outlets, working either freelance, teaching and training with the BBC, Radio Netherlands, and working with Trans World Radio, and then actually one of the producers of some of the first podcast programs. In fact, it was actually one of my ideas to actually put together a personal radio program for all of my clients and customers. That rather than sending them a memo about the coaching experience and what we had decided in our consultations, in effect, I made a radio program, a personal one, just for them, just like a podcast, and I would send them. Remember those little things called cassettes? Well, I had a number of those, and what my clients would get, and which they really appreciated because they didn't have to read a memo. They would get this little cassette, and most of the cars at that time had just begun to put cassette players in, and they could listen to my presentation, my notes, my suggestions, my recommendations. Obviously, I tried to always have a touch of humor and personality in it, and they could use that as a reminder of what they could do to build a better business that time. And oftentimes they shared it with some of their friends because they thought it was helpful and useful. And in fact, that's partly the way I got a lot of my business is they shared their personal podcast with a friend or a colleague. Well, here's the thing. I oftentimes said, and we had a kind of a make-believe story, that something like this had happened. All of a sudden, you're a business entrepreneur struggling to make it happen, and you find that you have been left an inheritance, millions of dollars, and you are so grateful. But the catch is that this benefactor then goes on to say, well, if I just gave you the money, you'd probably wreck it or waste it or not spend it on anything worthwhile, which could be true of us. But the benefactor then went on to say, is you've always said that if you could just tell your story to enough people, that would really make it for your business. And so your benefactor has decided to buy you 3 Super Bowl commercials. You have just been given the opportunity to have your business, your service, your career, 130, 150 million people, and you have 3 60-second commercials to tell your story to the world. The challenge is, what would you say? Think about that. Now, you have the opportunity. This isn't this elevator speech stuff. What would you say? How would you create your 60-second commercial? And then I went on to show them that there's a formula called ADA. 7 seconds to get their attention. 12 seconds to keep them interested. You get about 25 seconds to paint a picture of something desirable and wonderful and helpful and useful. And then you have to show them what they have to do, what the deal is, and then you have to give them a way to take action and buy your products and services or be in touch with you. And you've got to do all of that in 60 seconds. How would you do that? Well, that's where I usually came in, stood in, and said, let me help you create your 60-second story to build your business. It's a great exercise. In fact, I recently discovered, and recently means many years after the project began, but not in the recent past, that rather than doing a strategic plan, I would call the business and say, tell me what you would say to your audience, the people you want to connect with. What would you say to them in 60 seconds about your company, about your business, about your product, and how it could be helpful to them? Figure that out, and then your strategic plan is not this strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats stuff. It is, how would you now create your business and move it in such a way that what you said on your commercial was true and right and real, and you could do it for them? That would be your challenge. Well, that's my story about Super Bowl. And hopefully on this Tuesday, you will take this 15 minutes and pass it around to all of your clients, colleagues, customers, and friends. Because first of all, We want them at least to be aware of the limitations of a Super Bowl living, but then perhaps to think about the advantages of that Super Bowl promotional gift. What would you say? What would you do? What would you be? And how would you perform to make that a reality? I'm Stan Houston. I think these are pretty good, interesting ideas. And I thank you for your time. By the way, we could do that right now. I could help you build your business better right now with that exercise. But I won't do it for free, but it won't be nearly as expensive as a Super Bowl commercial. So please reach out to me at stanhouston@gmail.com, stanhouston@gmail.com, and I'd be willing to demonstrate to you just how I can help you. And that will be free, but I'll demonstrate to you how we could be helpful and useful to you in your business. Again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for caring enough to care and even care about me, because I do care about you. I want the best for you and your business in these challenging times. stanhouston@gmail.com, stanhouston@gmail.com. All the best, and bye for now.